Hi Leo, welcome to your July 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading, and happy early birthday to those of you who celebrate in July. First things first, for those of you who want to book a personal reading with me, follow me on Instagram or donate to the channel. Check out the description of the video for more info on that. And also, for those of you who are used to my normal spreads, you might notice that this is a totally different spread than usual on the table, so let's break down what this is. I actually call this the Bridging the Gap spread. And the way it works is on the left side, these three cards would represent your energy towards the connection with your main love interest. This would represent their energy toward the connection. And then this is the Lover's Path Tarot deck on the left side here, and this is the Tarot Sexual Magic on the right side, all right? And after we get through the main spread, so this is the past position, present energy, future energy. And then when we get through the main spread, we'll actually pull some oracle cards to see if we could get some additional messages, and that's where the bridging the gap element comes into play. All right, so let's just get started with the main spread. Starting with the past position on your side, we have the Eight of Coins. So this is the equivalent to the Eight of Pentacles. It's technically a Virgo energy. And for you, Virgo is your second house as well. So this could just be saying that in the past you were really focused on your finances, maybe not even putting in a lot of effort into the connection. But since this is a love reading, if we want to take it beyond just the surface level of the card, we could say that this could just be saying that you were actually putting a lot of work into the connection itself for some of you. For the majority of you, though, I'm really kind of getting the feeling that this was just you really just focused more on career than the actual relationship itself. So that's the primary vibe I'm getting there. But yeah, for some of you, it certainly could just be saying that you're really working and putting in an effort toward the connection with this person. And, for some of you, whatever you're like, if you're a Leo sun, for example, there's a pretty decent chance you could have either your Mercury or your Venus in the first 10 degrees of Virgo. So that's what this card represents too. So you might find that this resonates for you a little bit more if that's where your placement is. The past energy on their side, we actually have the Eight of Wands. So the Eight of Wands is technically a Sagittarius energy, so you could be dealing with a Sagittarius, but to me this almost says, for me, eights are very individual energies. So, if you have an 8 on your side, which was the Eight of Coins, them also having an 8, could just say that in the past, the two of you were totally doing your own thing. You weren't really putting in too much effort into the relationship. So, this could just be saying that in the past, you might have just been friends and not even necessarily thinking along the lines of a relationship, but obviously still in each other's lives. So the actual romantic element of this connection could actually be a more recent thing, since in the past energy, it looks like you guys are both doing your own thing. But another way that this could play out too is to say that they might have been the aggressors. Maybe you were more focused on your actual career and they might have been trying to make some advances towards you, because if we think of the Eight of Wands, normally we think about that as a very communicative card, right? And, taking action towards something. So maybe they were the ones actually making some advances towards you. The present energy, we see a pretty clear shift. And in the present, we have the Ten of Cups. So, this is normally a card that you would think of as just complete happiness and success in a romantic relationship. But what I do always say with this too is this is a Piscean card, so there's a lot of Pisces and Neptune energy with this one. And if you think about it, like we see in the artwork, there are those cups in a rainbow, right? So that makes me think of illusion, not necessarily with, any deceptive intent, but just one of those things where you might see things from a more sunny side than what the reality of the situation is. And then with this card, if we look here, it looks like there's some like stormy waters down there, right? And I mean, rainbows do come after a storm anyway, but maybe it could just be saying that you have a very idealized view of the connection. So that's the way it could play out in a more negative way. But yeah, either or, this could just be saying that in the present moment, the two of you are totally happy with each other, but maybe glossing over some potential issues in the relationship at the same time, That's the vibe that I'm getting there. And then on their side, in the present, interestingly enough, we have the Sun card. So I should point out, especially since this is the second fire energy on this side, for those of you who, as we're going through the spread, if you might feel like this sounds more like the other person's energy and this sounds like your energy on this side, then definitely trust that, it is a general reading, so that's certainly a possibility. That's how it could play out for some of you. But yeah, the sun, we normally associate this card with Leo energy. Now, given that this is the second fire energy, I feel like you're probably dealing with another fire sign. But since this isn't the present, this could also be saying that you may be dealing with a Cancer, since the sun is currently in Cancer. But either way, I'm seeing this as a very passionate moment. So maybe with those advances they were making towards you in the past, maybe you guys have actually decided to do something about it in the present, right? So you actually start things off with each other and take things to that next level. Because, like I said, in the past, it seems like you were really just wrapped up in your own thing, and maybe at best they might have been advancing towards you, or you really both of you could have just been focused on your own thing, and neither side was really making anything happen. But it looks like that does change in the present. Now, what's interesting is in the future position, we have oppression. So this is the equivalent of the Tower card in the regular tarot. So that's what again points, in my opinion, to this theme here, where maybe we're over idealizing the connection, and which isn't necessarily to say that it couldn't work, but again, like I said, if anything, it could just be one of those things where you're just so caught up in the romance of it all that you may not be looking at the practicalities of it. Like there might be some underlying issues that you guys have to work out, but you're like, oh, you're just choosing to go out, have fun, do your thing with each other, and not looking at the more serious issues that might be going on within the connection. Um, yeah, especially here, sometimes with the tower, you could try to spin it a little bit more positively, but the fact that we do have oppression as the name of the card in this particular deck is really leads me to believe that, something's off here, and what it could honestly be, and we'll see as we keep going along. This could be one of those things. If this is truly, like I said in the past, it doesn't look like there was necessarily a real connection between the two of you in a romantic respect. So, what this could be, if this is happening in the present, which, we would say that would be July, right? It's a July reading. There's eclipse energy and Mercury retrograde energies. So, it could just be one of those things where you might start it off during the retrograde and it just might end up, you know, falling apart in the future. I hate to say it like that. Maybe we'll see if the Oracle cards put a bit more of a positive spin on it. But you have 7 of arrows at the bottom of the deck on your side, too. So, that's a card that points to deception. So, I hate to say, but the first thing that's coming to my mind is, maybe one or both of you kind of sold it as if it would be like a potential long-term commitment, but then it ended up just being more like, almost like more of a one-night stand dynamic, you know what I mean? Where they were just trying to get what they wanted and then move on. Or for some of you, could be you, because the 7 of arrows is on your side as the bottom of the deck. So for some of you, it could be you guys who are actually the ones being a bit more deceptive. But if we look at the card on their side in the future, we actually have the Lovers. And, this is technically a Gemini energy, but this particular deck we see there's actually 3 people. So usually it's just a male energy and a female energy on the Lovers card, and then the Angel above them. And here we see, you have that still angel element, but it's more of like Cupid in this particular deck. And then there's actually a male energy with 2 females. So definitely could be a third party dynamic going on. But like I said, in a way, I don't even necessarily see. Well, yeah, with the 10 of Cups, maybe. So maybe this would be, I feel for most of you, this would be a very new connection for the most part. Like I said, even if you were in each other's lives in the past, I feel like the actual romantic element is fairly new here. And what may end up happening is you might find out after all this that, oh, wait, they were actually already in a relationship, right? So that could be the surprise. Like maybe they sold it like they were single, right? Maybe that's what this is saying. They like built up this thing like, oh yeah, I want to be with you. We could have a relationship. And that would be really messed up too, especially if you're like really focused on your career, just minding your own business, and this person comes in, you know what I mean? So that really is the way it plays out. I'm sorry to hear that, guys, but it's really what I'm feeling there. And then what stands out to me too is on your side, that woman is a brunette in a future position. So if we look at it that way, it's like there's a brunette here. And if we look at where Cupid's arrow is aiming, it looks like it's aiming, if anything, towards the blonde there. So could be one of those things where, maybe there was some potential, it started to get off the ground, and then maybe they choose another person. Maybe they did have good intentions going into it, but maybe another way it could play out with the retrograde. Maybe, their ex might come back, let's say, you know what I mean? And then they decide, oh, I'm going to try things with my ex again, which is crazy too, because that might end up falling apart after the retrograde too. But I guess at that point, it's their problem, not yours, right? And then at the bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Justice card. So I have to say, for some of you, this is another thing that could lead me to believe that maybe you've been that way with others in the past. Maybe you've been deceptive in the past. So maybe like with the eclipse energies, it's like a karmic thing where it's like, all right, well now you're gonna have that happen to you. This could even be someone where with that seven of arrows energy at the bottom of the deck on your side, maybe if you had actually, if you guys do have a history, and maybe if you'd cheated on them in the past, for example, they might have passed it off like, oh, everything's fine. And then actually with the justice card, that's saying that they're trying to even the score basically with the two of you. So definitely some tricky energy. And like I said, I don't know. This is definitely an interesting reading. It doesn't look very positive at all, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Maybe if nothing else, that would just, you could take it as a sign to like, oh, they're in a retrograde, which is usually a good idea anyway when it comes to starting a new connection. But we'll see. We'll see what these oracle cards add to the mix. So first, I have the Mystic Moon Oracle deck here that I'm going to try to pull a couple cards from. And what I do is first, I'll try to see if there's any unspoken messages from you towards them. And then after that, we'll try to see if there's any unspoken messages from them toward you. So we'll see if we get anything. And what I end up doing, I do shuffle these before I start recording as well. But I like to get jumpers with these decks. So if I shuffle for a while and nothing comes up, and I'll just take that as a sign there's no additional messages there, and then I'll move on. So we'll see. We'll shuffle for a little bit though. And like I said, this first one would be to see if there's any unspoken messages from you toward them. Alright, yeah, it doesn't feel like anything's coming up. So next we'll shift gears and I'll see if there's any unspoken messages from them toward you. So see if we get anything with that. Alright, there we go. So their message towards you is, I want to be authentic. I am no longer afraid. So that's interesting considering that there's that tower energy in the future on your side. I hate to say it, the way that I really see that playing out is more of when I was talking about that potential theme where you could find out that they're in a relationship. Maybe that's what it ends up being. Maybe it's actually them saying to you, hey, I know I've been, making you think otherwise, but I'm actually already in a relationship with someone else. You know what I mean? Or maybe, like I said, if their ex comes back around to something during the retrograde and, they might say to you, hey, my ex came back, I want to pursue it. So on a more positive note, At least they may come clean, and maybe that's what the justice is on the bottom of the deck on their side too. Like they're like, you know what, I have to let this person know what's really going on. But obviously, that's not going to make it hurt any less for you, right? So that could be why you're in that energy in the future. So just be mindful. Try to think of this energy, if nothing else, that Ten of Cups, like I said, that vibe where, yeah, you might get caught up in the romance in the moment, right? It might feel passionate, but you might be overlooking underlying things that, if you really just gave it a closer look, you may see that there are some red flags there. Let's see what we get from the upper oracle deck. So this one here is actually one of the oracle decks I use in the regular readings as well. It's the Wisdom of the Oracle. I'll try to pull a card from here, see if there's any additional messages. Kind of a rough one, guys. Sorry. I mean, hopefully this doesn't resonate for a lot of you because it sounds like a pretty crappy situation. But if nothing else, it's 1 month. So, like I said, if you can, if something doesn't seem right, if nothing else, just try to lay low, at least for July, and then celebrate your birthday season next month. And, maybe things will turn around by then. Especially because, like I said, I don't get a vibe here that, at least for the majority of you, I don't think this is someone that's been around for long or someone that you've been romantically involved with for long. It seems like that's coming up as something new in the present. So, maybe take it as a sign to just really try to take things slow with them and see what's really going on. Unless that's your thing, unless you're looking for something casual anyway, but given that the tower's in the future position on your side, doesn't look like you're happy about what happens, so I have to put it out there. Alright, shelf for a little bit more. Hopefully you get something soon. Alright, nothing's coming up, but I'll try a little bit more because I do like to at least have one card from this deck before we wrap. And like I said, I do prefer jumpers. I don't really like to, pull something from the top of the deck or something like that. So give it another minute, see if I can get something here. Worst case, I'll just pull from the deck randomly, but we'll see. Or ever not. Oh, there we go, finally. Alright. The tribe. Alright. Let me just show you the artwork, actually. Alright. Here's the artwork. And the number is 8. Alright, let's take a look at the... Well, ironically, I was talking about the 8 energy that you guys had in the past. Some more 8 energy. Alright. Okay, it says community, belonging, being seen and understood by others, like-minded connections, a sense of family and friendship, knowing your place in the world. The Oracle's message. This card signals a new affiliation with a group. Humans are social creatures, and we need to know we are useful to our tribes, families, and communities. In a tribe, everyone has an important function and feels I matter. Membership in a group provides a sense of belonging, of kinship, and of purpose that comes from working together for the greater fulfillment of all. Perhaps you are part of a spiritual community or an artistic one. Perhaps you are in a learning community where you share your love of education. Regardless of its form or focus, your community brings you joy. You will be inspired by it and want to contribute to it. Your contribution may be small as showing up, or as large as becoming its leader. No matter your position in the tribe, your presence is needed. So, not really picking up on a whole lot there that really resonates with this main spread, but maybe if nothing else, it's telling you just hang with your friends and family this month and, you know, lay low a little bit on the romantic scene. But let's see what the relationship message says. It says you're discovering the essential qualities that you share with another, and perhaps also those you don't share. There are times when you follow and the other person leads, and times when you lead and the other follows. The appearance of this card points to the importance of learning the proper dance between you and another, accepting the truth that everyone has flaws as part of that dance. Yet you are also being asked to be aware of the dynamics that you don't want to repeat. You're in the perfect place to make changes in order to experience the best version of who you can be together. All right, so interesting there as far as the dynamics that you don't want to repeat. That makes me think of, like I said, if there's red flags around, but you're choosing not to look at them because you're like, oh, I'm having a great time, this, that, and the other. Be wary of that. Or like I said, for those of you who maybe, if you've been the ones who've cheated in the past, with that seven of arrows at the bottom of the deck, try to be mindful of that. Watch out for that, and trying to think if anything else is coming up. Yeah, really, that's about it. Nothing to add there. Like I said, this looks like a pretty rough one. So hopefully, like I said, it doesn't play out for a lot of you the way that it at least looks on the surface. Like I said, do keep in mind, especially because I'm really not getting the vibe that for those of you this does resonate for, this is someone you have a long history with. So, and usually people that come around during the retrograde, it can be a bit tricky. And then you guys, Mercury's going to be retrograde. It's starting in your sign, and then it actually goes back into Cancer, which is your 12th house too. So that could be one of those things where, 12th house is the house of illusions, deceptions, self undoing sometimes. So just try to make sure you're seeing things clearly and being realistic. And, hopefully, like I said, for the majority of you, it doesn't play out this way. But if it does, sorry to hear that. And hopefully August will be better for you guys, especially since it's your birthday season coming up. All right. Take care, guys. See you next month. Bye.